Okay, so this is the first equation you need to balance. What you need to do is write down all the different chemicals you have, all the different elements, and how many you have on each side. So by default, we kind of assume that there are ones in everything. We pretend like we have one of every element. That's a good starting place. We have 2 hydrogens, 1 chlorine, 1 lithium. On the right. On the left, we have 1 hydrogen, 1 chlorine, and 1 lithium. This little 2 is the reason why we have 2 hydrogens. Anyway, and we look for any of them that are not balanced. This one's not balanced, hydrogen. We need 2 hydrogens on the left. So this number that we thought was a 1 is actually a 2. So I have to erase it with my eraser, not with my pen. And what I have now is I have 2 hydrogens and 2 chlorines. So I fixed this, but I broke this. I need to get 2 chlorines on the right. And the only way I can do that is by affecting the compound that has chlorine in it, which is lithium chloride. So I put a 2. And now what I have is I have 2 chlorines, but I also affected my number of lithiums, because this affects both. So I seem like I'm almost done. Hydrogen's good, chlorine's good, lithium is not. I need 2 lithiums on the reactant side, so I put a 2, and now I have 2 lithiums. This first one you have 2, 2, 2, 1. That's a set of coefficients that balances the first reaction. All right, next. Oop, well, that's the answer if you wanted it. So right here, this is an equation that we have to balance. One little difference here is that this SO4, I'm going to treat as a single element, not as a bunch of units. Even though it is sulfur and 4 oxygens, this is a polyatomic ion. And polyatomic ions don't get separated. So if you see a clump on the left and on the right that stays together, and you recognize it as a polyatomic ion, you have a list on the back of your periodic table when you take tests. Treat it as a single group, not as a bunch of elements. Anyway, we count how many we have on the left and the right. So pretending like I just have one of everything, which is the way that I start. I have 1 nickel, I have 2 iodines, I have 2 sodiums, and I have 1 SO4. On the left, I have 1 nickel, 1 sodium, 1 iodine, 1 SO4. What I got to do is balance them, right? So right here, it looks like I have 2 sodiums on the right and 1 on the left, so I need 2 on the left. So I'll put a 2 down. And when I do this, I have to change my number of iodine and sodium both. So now I have 2 sodiums and I have 2 iodines, which is good. And this looks like the answer. 1, 2, 1, 1. All I had to do was change that one coefficient and then everything balanced. This one, well, spoiler alert, the coefficients are going to be 2, 4, and 3. And the reason why is because we pretend like there's one of everything. And if I have 1 of O2s, that means that I have 2 oxygens, and I have 1 aluminum. Over here I have 2 aluminums and 3 oxygens, because those are the subscripts. This doesn't balance out. I need to fix it. Now, if you have an odd number and an even number, that's not going to work. You're going to want an even number of everything, especially if you have a 2 down here. That's normally the way to go. So instead of having 1, I'll have 2 of these. And now what I have is I have 4 aluminums and I have 6 oxygens. So 2. A way to get 4 aluminums is really easy. I just put a 4 in front of here. That's the only thing affected. So I got 4 aluminums. And I need 6 oxygens. So something multiplied by 2 is 6. That's got to be 3. So 3 times 2 is 6. Now I have 6 oxygens. And now I'm done. 2, 4, and 3 are the coefficients that balance this. So this one right here, you have magnesium, oxygen, and magnesium oxide. On the right, I have 1 magnesium and 1 oxygen. On the left, I have 1 magnesium and 2 oxygens. So what you have to do is make the numbers the same. I have 2 oxygens here, but only 1 over here. I got to fix it. So I'll put a 2. And what that affects is the number of magnesiums and oxygens. So now, I have 2 magnesiums and 2 oxygens. On the left, I'm almost good. My oxygens line up, but my magnesiums don't. So I need 2 magnesiums. And now, what I have is I have 2 Mgs, and I put a little 1 here. The coefficients are 2, 1, and 2. This is the solution for the last problem.